As pointed out by the submitter who sent on over this replay to the Discord channel, I don't very often cover free-for-alls, and there's a good reason for that. Oftentimes free-for-alls end up with a whole bunch of players losing and a very, very long, drawn-out late game that doesn't really go anywhere. But if ever there was a free-for-all that I think is going to be worth casting, it's the one I've got for you today that was played quite recently here on Prismatic Anomaly. The brand new map that just came out recently. It's, well, designed as a 1v1 map, but it actually works quite well as a 4-way free-for-all map. So, today, spawning is the red team leader, a red commander that goes by the name of Extreme Randy. 28 open skill, going to be playing in the bottom left-hand corner. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, it's going to be Bug Fighter at a 19 open skill, and 3 Chevron, our underdog of the series here today. Our top right-hand corner player is going to be AZZ NZ, the stud clan, making their appearance here at 34 open skill and rounding things out as the green commander. That's going to be NT Guardian at 20 open skill and going to be showing us what they've got as an Armada commander here. So, a 4-way free-for-all 1v1v1v1. Not a typical match, not one that we would feature here normally, but it did definitely catch my eye, because oftentimes free-for-alls, they tend to drag on for a lot longer, and especially in corner-based free-for-alls, you tend to have this situation where, say for instance, the green commander gets eliminated, the blue commander is virtually guaranteed to be the next one knocked out, because all the pressure is going to be focused from these two players inwards in towards this commander. It's just inevitable. As this area gets locked down here by these two commanders, it just all focuses into this, and then you sort of just have this corner versus corner 1v1. That's not to say that can't be an interesting match, but oftentimes, yeah. After watching Bar for long enough, and I promise you, with the Chevron count I've got, I'm ashamed to admit how much Beyond Our Reason I've probably watched over the last 2.5 years or so. It's definitely way up there in the thousands of hours of games. I can tell you right now that it doesn't make for the most interesting gameplay, but this certainly should be a different take on it. At the very least, some 1v1 gameplay does mean that things will be a little bit more action-packed, as immediately, apparently, the blue and green commanders have the same idea, to start harassing the yellow commander. We already have some rascals and rovers and blitzes, all sorts of stuff moving across the map right here. Actually, no rascals, just blitzes and a rover from the green commander. The blitz now making its way towards the yellow commander's base. It will find a couple of those rovers that have been produced here. Rovers with their increased HP, I mean, not terrible against the blitz, but definitely not going to kill it efficiently here. These are 31 metal per versus the blitz's 110. Blitz are going to do way better here, but there is a blitz out on defense here for the yellow commander, so at the very least the early game aggression is done. But I like the scouting here more than anything for NT Guardian. Taking a look around the map, and you can see this is the green commander's view here, knows where the yellow commander is, spotted the red unit on the southern side here, so knows where the red commander is, and then of course with only one left, knows now where the blue commander is as well. And scouting can be very useful, obviously planning the angle that you want to attack from here, looking at the skill levels, the relative OS to Chevron skill levels here of all these commanders is going to be important for determining whether you think you should fight north, south, east, or west. And I think the green commander is definitely looking at this and thinking, well, the northern angle looks a little bit more comfy. We do have a constructor expanding outwards here. We have a single rover moving to the left-hand side here, the western side, for the yellow commander, taking a look around and trying to expand outwards on the fringes of, I guess what you would call the yellow commander's territory, the top right-hand corner here. If we were to divide this map, I guess you could cut it right down the middle and then sort of draw and quarter it like that. You end up with these sort of boxes here that each commander more or less controls. The interesting thing, though, is that you end up with these weird asymmetries, right? Because this map is mirrored on a diagonal here. You can see the yellow commander side is the same as the red commander side. But it means that yellow versus green is not an even fight right here. So that's kind of, you know, it makes things interesting. Definitely means that you have a side that you're a little bit stronger against and a side that you're going to be a little bit weaker against. I'm not sure exactly on this map how that would be. I think it would probably be, I think if I had to guess here, for instance, in the this works for the yellow commander relative to the green, blue, and red, and then to the red commander relative. Like, it works both ways here to both of these commanders. A couple of blitzes, by the way. Sneaking past, one manages to kill a mech, the other will be shot down by an LLT. But if I had to guess, I would say probably your weakest side is going to be, at least for the yellow commander, the weakest side is going to be the green side here, because all these mexes are contested. Whereas, for instance, their strongest side, I think, would probably be the blue commander here on the southern side, because all the blue mexes are very far forward right here, or clumped very close together here. Nice damage right there from some rovers. Hey, nicely done. Rovers managed to find... Oh, we're not going to kill the con? Oh, okay. Constructor escapes with its life at the very least, but we will kill the metal extractors, which is quite nice. Blue commander going on a tear. Bugfighter trying to get super, super aggressive towards the red commander. Obviously, each of these commanders only have one commander, right? There's only one comm per team, means you only have one life, so putting your commander out there on the line can be very, very risky. Looks like those rascals or rovers were harassing down the constructor and some mexes over here, but the blitz squad will clean it all up. The LLT will come up as well, and then that metal extractor will secure this quite nicely. Every commander expanding out of the map, but I think what we're going to do is skip ahead a little bit here as these commanders get into the game and start gearing up for a little bit of battle. Now, interestingly, every single commander here, except for the red commander, goes into vehicles. Makes a lot of sense on this map. I mean, we have some wide open plains, and obviously those vehicles on big, wide, flat terrain tend to work out quite nicely here. Nice blitz engagement on that northern side. We have, oh, the blue commander going down. Sorry, struggling with my commander right here. All right, well, a rapid kill early on into the game, but there we go. The blue commander has been wiped off the game already as the blue comm goes down. All the buildings are erased, but all of a sudden, Extreme Randy has an extreme lead in the game all of a sudden as the 28 open skill hero in red does manage to snipe that commander with a couple of those grunts. All right, learned my lesson about speed forwarding a little too fast there. We do have the Janus up. Nicely done. Hey, Janus missile connects with the constructor. If we can land another volley, might be able to kill it. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, maybe. He tried. I don't think it's going to happen yet. The constructor manages to get away before the yellow commander can really do anything. Oh, no. Stud is moving forward here. D-gun, D-gun, D-gun doesn't connect. Second D-gun doesn't connect. Oh, no. Okay, LOT goes down at the very least. D-gun... D-gun takes out all the friendly forces and misses every green tank right there. Not to pick on the yellow commander, but that might just empirically be the worst D-gun that maybe has ever been shot. 100% friendly fire rate with 0% enemy casualty. That is something to behold, certainly. Medium tank now running by. Doesn't care too much about that LLT. Obviously, the LLT will eventually whittle this down, as we can see right here. Nice repair command, by the way, from AZZ. Manages to keep the LLT alive to at least kill one of those medium tanks. That yellow commander's in some trouble. No more units on the front to reinforce this. Yeah, we have medium tanks coming out now, finally. But I don't know if the yellow commander is even aware of the fact that the blue comm is dead. Like, we have a scout kind of vaguely in that area, but I think the only one who knows that the blue commander is dead is the red commander. And this is kind of the other issue with free-for-alls, is that typically the player that wins is the player that fights the least, right? Because now we're in a 1v1v1, a three-way 1v1. And what that means is the two players that fight are always going to come out a little bit weaker than the player who just sits back, builds up their economy, and kind of gets into the late game here. Nice D-gun. That one catches a medium tank. This tank will barely manage to escape. AZZ has got to be careful. That commander is dangerously low at 26% HP. It's about 2% per shot right here from these stouts, so it only takes, 12 or 13 shots to connect, and even fewer volleys if you have multiple tanks in the mix, like the green commander does. Ugh, yeah, I don't know. Makes me a little bit nervous to see that commander that far forward. Meanwhile, NT Guardian also expanding forward, but in a much safer area here, and continuing to scale up that solar panel energy. Of course, no wind turbines on this map, so T1 solars are kind of your only option. I wouldn't mind seeing some advanced solars. Once you get up to about 300 energy, you can start to afford those advanced solars on a couple of build turrets. Then your economy really starts to take off. Once you start building those, you can actually start to afford those T2 transitions later into the game. Only takes about 4 or 5 T1 advanced solars before you're ready for that T2 transition. After that, it's only a matter of sorting out your metal income. Couple of rovers sneaking their way around here. The advantage heavily in the red commander's favor, though. You can see we've sort of broken the spectator thing over on the right-hand side as well. Yeah, Extreme Randy still fortifying this area, surprisingly enough. Oh, we're gonna res. Interesting, okay. Red Commander gonna resurrect this corpse here. It was the spoil of war, but frankly speaking, this is actually a great idea. Yeah, keeping this corpse, or resurrecting this corpse, does give you a +1 life. It is your green mushroom, so to speak. We have some advanced solars coming up as well, contributing largely to the drainage of power on the red commander. But ultimately, this fight over here, like I said, between the green and yellow commanders is draining both of them. But at the very least, the green commander has expanded ruthlessly across the map. And you can see all these metal extractors have been claimed by both constructors and the commander out there on the map, grabbing all those. And it means that the production is just way higher right now for the green commander. Yeah, pulling at about 33, 34 metal per second, whereas the yellow commander is stuck at just about 21. And there we go. Yellow commander is sniped, and all of a sudden we've got, in a rare turn of events, corner versus corner, right? Or not corner versus corner. We've got the top left-hand corner versus the bottom left-hand corner here. Well, okay. A giant standing army available right now for the green commander. We do have that commander available up there. Will we go reclaim that, or are we just going to go and build a... we're going to try and res it here. No bot lab, obviously, so resing it's going to be difficult. Meanwhile, the commander on the southern side has been resurrected by these good old-fashioned res bots, actually getting a little bit of a massage as well. Trying to get back up to full HP here as one of these commanders expands on the map. So you can be a little bit more greedy with these commanders, right? You can move them on the map a little bit more aggressively once you've gotten another one up and running, because, well... it is the win condition after all, losing your last commander, and if you have 2 of them, you can lose 1 of them and still stay in the game. Big old thug army is in the works right here. There's 10 thugs on the way and 1 million more in production, but they aren't here yet, and the medium tanks sure are. I think we gotta go. Yeah, I think the time here to go is now for the green commander. Already has the cons to go expand. I think we send these backwards to capture the mexes here that were the yellow commander's steed. And eventually it helps you overwhelm the economy because it's just sheer scaling size. You have more stuff. And in a game of Beyond All Reason, more stuff. Say it with me, folks. More stuff beats less stuff. The age-old RTS adage goes. LLT's going down here. Medium tanks doing a great job of clearing a bunch of this up. I like the aggression. It is difficult for these thugs to be in multiple places at once. They just aren't as efficient. They aren't as fast. They don't hit quite as hard as those medium tanks do, those stouts. And so it means that the thugs kind of have to group up a little bit more. And so what that means is that, well, if you have to group your units a little bit more, they can't be in multiple places at once, at least not without losing a ton of effectiveness. So multi-pronging with the medium tanks makes a lot of sense. Little hit squads of 4 or 5 medium tanks can do tons of damage, right? They don't really care about LLTs at that pace. They kind of can just punch through anything. Sort of taking a frontal assault right here, but not necessarily the trade that I think that they want. Resbot's obviously phenomenal here as well. We do already have them from resurrecting that commander, getting them up and running to resurrect any of these constructors that might be available, any of these LLTs, and of course to res or reclaim all these medium tanks would always be wonderful as well. But both of these 2 commanders here are ready to make some kind of a play, right? The economy is big enough that we can now start going into different plays. We might see an air lab transition. 1,500 metal in the bank right now for the red commander, and has the energy to spend it, just not build power. So that's a good problem to have. It means you have the resources, you just got to spend them. Resbots will, by the way, be tasked with rebuilding these medium tanks and putting them back out on the line. And obviously, every time one of these units trades out, as long as it's not overkill to debris like these ones here, they'll just get back up. The Resbots, I mean, that is their superpower. They will get these units back on their feet, back on their treads, and rolling out against the red army here, or against the green army here, very, very shortly. Randy gonna cloak right here. Cloaking and moving costs 1,000 energy per second, and we don't quite have that economy yet. D-guns are away. Nicely done. Yeah, the green commander doesn't realize that this, well, now sees the halo, but didn't realize that this was a resurrected commander, so dove in to try and kill it, but ultimately this isn't a game-winning play. Yeah, that commander can die, and it really doesn't matter much. Randy throws out some nice D-guns, and that's a entire army down the drain right there. Did we go T2? Nope. Good old-fashioned T1. We needed more advanced solar panels. We have the constructors. We need to build more advanced solars, maybe even another E-storage here. No, you don't even really need the E-store. Yeah, just more advanced solars is really all that we need right now. Not more build power. Stalling on the energy right now means that, yeah, energy production is going to be key. At the very least, grabbing these mexes is huge, though. You can see NT Guardian continuing to expand outwards here. We do have more and more expansions from the constructor bot over on this side. Rascals, or rovers, pardon me, are in position to intercept, though. Medium tanks looking to push for the base. And I think this is the right play. Hit your opponent in the wallet, not in the army. You're going to have much more success that way. Medium tanks with some decent flanking, get an alright trade. But again, every one of these medium tanks that goes down, it just leaves a corpse for the resurrection right here. So I'm not entirely sure that it's worth it. Another big swell of medium tanks coming in, though, and these will do some damage. Rovers, by the way, did find this left-hand, or this bottom right-hand side right here for the red commander. It means that these mexes will go down, as well as the constructors, eventually anyways. This is really the main threat, though. Yeah, these medium tanks are pushing in, and there is not a lot in place to stop this. Fiends coming out of a T2 lab right here. Love that transition for the red commander. I think we have more than enough economy to afford it. And the Fiends are going to do great work against blasting down these medium tanks. They get into position in the back line, and there are some juicy targets, right? Taking out those E-converters, taking out those metal extractors. But I think the Fiends are enough firepower. I stand corrected. With a well-timed T2 transition... Oh, well, okay, we've got one more to clean up. But with a well-timed T2 transition, yeah, I think the red commander has done a wonderful job of managing to get a response out just in time to kill all those medium tanks and save the base right here. Construction towers trying desperately to spend metal that isn't in the bank. Those resbots need to come back and eat all this up. Now that we've got the A solars up and running, there's not really a reason to keep these T1 solar panels around. You may as well eat them and turn them into 3 or 4 more advanced solar panels. Saves you money, saves you time. Live better. Walmart. Hashtag not sponsored. Could you imagine if Walmart was a proud sponsor of Bar? What a world we would live in. NT Guardian here, just a little bit idle on the top side, trying to build a metal extractor that can't be built. Has a nice queue of mexes here, but we need to requeue this so the commander gets a little bit less stuck on the front there. Fiends also standing still, not really what they're supposed to do, especially against medium tanks. They have the speed to avoid the medium tank projectiles, so you usually want to use that to your advantage whenever you can. Still, though, going to do so much damage, and they have a decent amount of HP, too, so it's not like they can't really sustain themselves fighting medium tanks. All around, a pretty perfect answer to the medium tank, frankly speaking. Medium tank at 225 metal, the Fiend coming in at exactly 200. Means that they are also a metal-efficient answer to medium tanks. One of very few in the game that are do enough damage to be worth it, and also cost, well, a little enough amount that they're worth producing in any significant numbers. Thugs marching around on the right-hand side. We do have a little bit of a thug walk. Making their way. Slowly but surely here on the right-hand side to try and kill some of these mexes. A couple of grunts spread out and just kind of moved around the map. Sometimes you can catch metal extractors like that, and it can be super useful. Going for a dirty Sheldon ball. Okay. I say dirty because we're not including any radar or radar jammer. There we go. Okay, we've rounded out our Sheldon ball composition here. We are going to have a radar and a radar jammer thrown in. Wouldn't mind a sumo or two for a little bit of anti-spam protection, but frankly, I mean, the opponent has been in medium tanks, medium units for quite some time here. I don't think that anti-spam is going to be super necessary. Although I bite my tongue here as Jaguars have now hit the field. T2 lightning tanks ravaging this T1 composition here. All of the T1 thugs go down as those lightning tanks fire away their high arcing lightning beam and blow them to smithereens, leaving a trail of bodies here in the midsection of the map. A console or two to build all this up would be wonderful. Eco now in a much better spot right here for the green commander, who is now pulling in hundreds and hundreds of metal. Did we ever get a T2 con out to upgrade the mechs? Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, no T2 con here is a huge oversight from the red commander. We are finally getting one, but it's a little bit delayed. Like, a T2 con should have came before this entire army right here. These Sheldon, I mean, if you think about it like this, the Sheldon have, so far this match anyways, achieved effectively nothing, whereas this T2 con, oh, we're not even going to go for mexes first? Well, okay, I'm liking this less and less right here for the red commander. The economy is still big enough just on T1 mexes that you can go for a pretty sizable army. Decent enough production. But why not have more metal? Yeah. Especially for the red commander, who is moving on this right-hand side. By the way, NT Guardian very exposed over here. Did not resurrect the commander on this side. Never transitioned into bots rather. And so, whoops, pardon me. Is gonna end up with a bunch of thugs walking towards the commander. Oh no, I can see the future. And NT Guardian does not live to see tomorrow. Oh, this concerns me. Yeah, the green Guardian is moving away right now, trying to escape from the thugs that are marching forward. At the very least, NT did notice that there were units out here, so that's very nice. But yeah, all of a sudden these thugs are like, oh, wait a second, there's something over here. Because we can tell that these mechs has been built, right? So something is happening over here. Extreme Randy making a little march as well. With 2 commanders in the bank, though, a little bit easier to afford this. Oh, I hope we don't die to an LLT here. Oh, yikes. Okay, there we go. A little bit of movement brings hope back to my eyes, and Randy will manage to dig down the LLT and hopefully get out of there. We are just trying to kill the metal extractors here. Oh, have we spotted the commander yet? Oh my goodness, it's so close. If he spots this commander, he basically has a perfect surround with these thugs. He has 3 in front, 4 in the middle, and 4 following up from behind. Basically moving any combination of those into position in front of and behind the commander over here would win the match. Lightning tanks are produced to reinforce right here. They most ideally don't want to be engaging at close range right here. They do full damage at range. Lightning doesn't suffer from damage fall off like the laser weapons do. One of those nice things about Armada units in general is that a lot of them use lightning, and although it costs energy to fire, you don't have to deal with the range, or the damage over range drop off, which is quite nice. Sheldon Ball looking dangerous though. T2 mexes are coming up right here for the green commander. You can see the economic lead that it brings here. 65 metal per second versus nearly 40 metal per second. About a, what, 30% advantage, 25% advantage right there for the green commander. These lightning tanks need to go, 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 go. Sheldon are firing away right here, and they do have the speed to jump on top of all this, but they kind of took too much damage already. Taking out the radar jammer at the very least would be very, very nice. All you have to do is a little bit of damage. Oh, he doesn't get it. That's brutal right there. Yeah, the Sheldon still with vision. If you take out the radar and the radar jammer, then you end up in a pretty decent spot where these Sheldon are actually pretty blind, and you can get your units on top of them a whole lot easier. But with those units still out and running, I don't know if I like this all too much. Or what are they called? Not maces. Mauser, that's what they're called. Mauser might not be a bad option here as well, just to try and get something to fire away at range. They won't trade evenly. They'll trade somewhat inefficiently, but that's kind of the best that we can do right now because, well, losing everything else is not worth it. Okay. Vision is gone, and that's huge. Vision has been reduced here significantly for the Red Commander after losing the radar. Now the lightning tanks are in position. Commander did eventually flee. Huge catch right here for the Green Commander. Manages to pull apart that Sheldon Ball with a bunch of these lightning tanks. Very, very nicely done. If that Sheldon Ball had been allowed to push, I mean, if they had pushed a step further, they could have gotten to that T2 lab, and that would have been a rough situation, to say the very least. Both of these commanders, by the way, nearly overflowing metal, ready to step into T2 properly. We need to see some more build power thrown together right here. Obviously, a little bit tricky to do, but both of these commanders have units that can do it. The Console for Armada and the Twitcher for Cortex. They're both on the right tech for it, but they just need to see the opportunity right now. T2 Constructor grabbing these T2 mexes is huge, though. And what's that, 7,000 metal lying in wreckage right here? We've got the Resbots en route. They're actually going to resurrect everything. You know, I don't mind that, actually. The lightning tanks can be an excellent frontlining unit for the Sheldon if we resurrect a bunch of those. We do have one of the two red commanders moving out of the map right here. It is bold, suffice it to say, to move out with those commanders, but, again, not as bold as it is when you have two of them. Then again, these T2 lightning tanks are pretty beefy. Wow, a little bit of flanking damage, and that commander melted almost immediately for those lightning tanks right there. This is suddenly a very dangerous situation. Yikes. Red Commander brought back down to 1. We have, ladies and gentlemen, an air transition. A couple of bombers are now out on the map. We have tons of T1 constructors as well. I guess that's where the metal has gone here for the T2 Red Commander right now. Those medium and lightning tanks trying to clear out some of those LLTs. Bombers, what are we doing? They were spotted, just barely right there by the Green Commander. We should see an air lab start up. We do indeed. A couple of fighters wouldn't be the end of the world. We also have some more energy production coming up and running. Some anti-airs queued up. All sorts of anti-airs available right here for the Green Commander, and I don't mind that whatsoever. Oh, no. Extreme Randy dies to a ball of ticks. Well, if that isn't a poetic ending to an Armada versus Cortex showdown, I don't know what is. A commander out on the map seems to be the way that we always lose this game. GG, as the Green Commander takes the win here with the good old-fashioned cheapest, fastest, and most cutest unit in the Armada roster. It's a humble 100 ticks that managed to blast down the last commander here for the Red Leader. Thanks a ton for watching. If you did enjoy this FFA, please feel free to leave a like and drop a follow down below in the subscribe. Sorry, that's what it's called on YouTube. Drop a subscribe down below to the Brightworks Discord channel, and if you'd like to see future games, that's the place to check them out. Other than that, if you'd like to discuss replays or submit one of your own, feel free to check out the Discord, which is always linked down below as well, where most of these replays are taken from. But other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.